Hey, what up? Today I'm going to show you how to make a custom photography slideshow using Lightroom and Adobe Premiere Pro. Alright, so we're going to start off in Premiere Pro. So what I've done first off is I have chosen about 20 or so, it looks like I have 18 photos that I want to put in a slideshow to give to my clients, okay? And what I'm noticing is they are slightly different sizes, okay? So what I have to do is I need to resize these photos in Lightroom. That way they'll fit exactly in a 1080p frame in Premiere Pro. So here we go. So first thing I need to do is I will just click on I'll just click on any photo actually and just press R to take me straight into develop mode and straight into the crop mode here. So if I click over here in my right develop panel and I click on original, there's actually a preset that Lightroom has given us for 1080p video. Thank you, Lightroom. So if I choose the 16:9 aspect ratio, right beside of it, you see 1920 by 1080. That's the exact size of a 1080p video that I'm going to give to my client. So perfect. Click it. There's a little bit of crop. I got to move that around. I'll press enter. What I want to do is save time. So I'm going to go ahead and press Command C, check none, and click crop. Press copy. I'll press G, and then I'm going to press Command A to select all of them, and then I'm going to do Shift Command V to paste that crop on all of those photographs. Okay, so now all I need to go in and do is press R on each individual photo and maybe crop it or move it around inside of that. So it automatically cropped all these photos to the same aspect ratio. And I just saved myself a ton of time and a ton of clicks. And I will be done in T-minus like 15 seconds. Except things load. All right, I'm almost done. Love that one. So good. I am a stickler on automation and saving time. My time is just so valuable. I don't have any time, so any way that I can figure out time savers, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out. So that's one way I love copying and pasting specific edits on photographs and then just quickly customizing them to what I want. Lovely, lovely. Also, something else to point out, all these photographs that I've chosen for the photography slideshow are in landscape orientation. That means they were shot sideways like this, right? Not portrait like this, okay? Keep that in mind. It's something to think about. Okay, I'm done. I'm going to press G to get back to my grid mode, press Command A to select all those images, press export. What I need to do now is tell Lightroom where to put all these resized photos, okay? So I'm going to make sure export to specific folder. I'm going to click choose. I'm just going to send it to my desktop and I'm going to click new folder and call it photography slideshow. Press create, press choose. And I'm going to go down and make sure that quality is 100% for this. And I want to make sure that resolution is 72. And I'm going to uncheck resize to fit if that's checked. These are not my normal export settings, okay? This is because I want to make sure I have all the correct quality in my photography slideshow in Premiere Pro in a second, okay? That is not what I usually export as, especially if I'm doing social media or giving to my clients, okay? I'm gonna press export. All 18 of those photos are going to export into that folder right now. I'm gonna go ahead and head over to Adobe Premiere Pro while that's happening. I'm going to create a new project and I'm gonna call it Photography Slideshow. I'm gonna click Browse. I'm gonna go find that folder called Photography Slideshow on my desktop, press Choose, press OK. And let me check, almost exported. I'm gonna go ahead, double click on this import media to start. I'm gonna actually import that whole folder. All my photos are in there resized though now. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is head over and grab some really sexy music to put in my photography slideshow. I'm gonna be using YouTube's audio library. Why? Because it has all the Creative Commons rights music. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff over here. I can choose genre. So if I want like some R&B and soul genre, if I want to have a romantic feel, lovely. And now I have some music I can listen to. So I'm going to sit here and listen to, Okay, okay, like that, like that. Ooh, hey girl, yeah, like that one. Okay, so I'm gonna press download, pause that puppy, and I'm gonna move that song into my photography slideshow. Let's go to my downloads, put Hey Girl in there. Okay, now I can head back over to Premiere Pro and I'm going to import that music in. There's Hey Girl. Boom. So now what I need to do is I need to go ahead and figure out what the beat of that song is that I just downloaded. So the images will actually cut on the beat in the slideshow. So I'm going to double click on that song and I'm going to click on audio, just so I get a little better view and move this over for y'all. Now what I'm gonna do is use the keyboard shortcut M, okay? M. I don't know why I did that. So every time I click M on this song, it's gonna mark it. And it's gonna be marked by this little green guy right there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to tap M on the beat of the music, just like this. Okay, that's probably good. And so the reason I just added those markers is because those markers signify where I'm going to cut the photos in my photography slideshow, okay? So I'm gonna click back on my editing workspace. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna click on my photography slideshow images that are resized for 1080p video, click on them and just drag them right over to the timeline and let go. And automatically it will throw those photos in for the default time of probably 3 or 5 seconds, whatever you have set, okay? And it looks like it's lasting about 3 minutes or so. That's entirely too long for my song. So I'm gonna just go ahead and drag over my song. And when I do that, you'll actually see those markers visually on the song. And what's cool is I can just stretch out my timeline here and go through. I'm gonna zoom out for you guys. I'm gonna go through, before that I'm gonna click on this wrench and press expand all tracks. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, for every photo, I'm just gonna click on the end of it and drag the end to where the beat or the marker is. And by default, Premiere Pro will snap the end of it to that marker, okay? And so I just do that with every photo and drag the end to the next marker. I am done with putting the images inside of the beat. Let's watch it and see what we got. Now, if your photos have a little bit of black around them, like they're not really fitting in the frame up there like mine are, you'll need to do this next part. So go over in your project bin and find your sequence. Your sequence has a little icon that looks like this. And right click on it, choose sequence settings, and you'll probably find that your frame size is not a 1080p frame size. For horizontal, you'll need to change that to 1920. And vertical, you need to change that to 1080p, or 1080, excuse me. And then you can just press OK. When you do that, your sequence will change, and your photos may look like they zoomed in or something like that. All you need to do is click on your sequence and choose all your photos. Right click on them, and then you can choose set to frame size. What that should do, ideally, is put the outside edge of all of your 1080p resized photos to the 1080p frame size, and now you won't find black around any of the images at all. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and trim the music to the end of the slideshow. I'm just going to drag the end until it snaps there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a fade in and a fade out in the beginning and the end of the slideshow. So the reason why I like using Premiere Pro is because I get to customize stuff like this. And so I'm going to use the pen tool to fade in and fade out every photo and the audio. So I'm going to press P for pen tool, and I'm going to go to the end of, I'm going to go to the end of my song here, add 2 keyframes, drag the last one down, and that creates a little fade out like so. Now, if you don't see this line on your images in your timeline, you need to go up to the top left and find the wrench, which is timeline display settings. Click it and choose show video keyframes. When you do, it'll show that line where you can actually add the next part that I'm getting ready to show. And I'm going to add 2 keyframes to the end of my last photo, drag the last one down, and what that's going to do is it's going to fade out my last photo like so. Just like that, good. Now I'm going to go to the beginning and go ahead and do the same thing. So I'm going to go to my pen tool, go to my audio, add 2 keyframes, drag the first one all the way down to the bottom left. Same thing with my first photo, 2 keyframes, drag the first one on the bottom left. Now, what I should have is a fade in visually and audibly, and a fade out visually and audibly. Good, and let me go to the end. Perfect, awesome. So the last thing I need to do is I want my photos to fade in and fade out from black, just to add a little bit of drama, okay? So I'm gonna use that same exact technique. Let me press home, and what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna go back to my pen tool, hover over the little video keyframe line, add 2 more keyframes to every single photo at the beginning and end, and drag the beginning and the end one down to the far right and far left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, drag that one down, drag that one down, and I'm going to move it in just a little bit. So So now it looks like this. But so, like I said, I'm really a stickler on saving time. So I'm going to show you a little time-saving trick. So if I click on that image or any image that I change the opacity to, which is essentially what I did, I can actually go up to my effect controls window right here and move my face out of the way. And I can actually just click on the word opacity right here. And notice there's keyframes over here. That's what I just added down there. If I just press copy, it'll copy those keyframes. I can paste those on every photo. Watch how they add. If I click Command V, Command V, Command V, Command V, and I can even batch paste, Command V. Boom, look at all that. So what it looks like now without any customizations is this. So it fades in and fades out to black. Okay, so one issue that you might need to adjust is the beginning and end keyframe. So if it's not exactly where it's supposed to be, you might need to go in and adjust that final keyframe or you can even add another one. So I could do this just to make sure it fades all the way to black and vice versa if I wanted to. It's completely up to you, whatever looks good and feels good to you though, okay? So let's see what we got now. Looks like you need a little bit of scale to frame size for some reason. I don't know why. Cool, and so the reason why that's doing all the skipping is because it needs to be rendered. So I can just press return on my keyboard to actually render all of those effects and those keyframes that I just did. And it's gonna take a minute to change all that stuff, and then we can watch it again. So just to recap while that's happening, we resized our images for 1080p in Adobe Lightroom. We exported them to a resized folder. We imported that resized folder right here. We went and downloaded some music, added markers to that music for beats, and then we drug over the whole resized folder into our timeline there. And then what we did is we trimmed the size of each photo to snap to each marker where the beat is. And then we added keyframes to have the audio and each photo fade in and fade out so it looks a little more professional. Now let's watch it since it's rendered all up. So after you're done rendering, looking over your final product, if you're ready to export, click on your timeline and you're going to press Command M. And what this is going to do is bring up the export media window. This is where you're going to create your location of your slideshow. You're going to change the name of it. So format needs to be H.264 preset. Mine's going on YouTube at 1080p. So YouTube 1080p. I'm going to click the output name. I'm going to call it Photography Slideshow -1080p. I'm going to choose my Photography Slideshow folder. Press save. I'm going to make sure I click use maximum render quality. And that's it. I'm going to press export and there it goes. That is how you make a photography slideshow customizable with Lightroom. and Premiere Pro without any photography slideshow software at all, using the apps you probably already have. Love y'all. Thanks for watching.